Oui, je veux apprendre euh, ce langue parce que euh, je, 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 je veux, je veux, j'aimerais apprendre le français parce que je suis attirée par la richesse de la culture française et la cuisine française.
Hey, this is what I expected after seeing others' surprising improvement on spoken French on YouTube. But the reality is kind of different. While we can control the amount of time spent in learning a language, we cannot guarantee a desired outcome every time. In today's video, I will show you my authentic progress in spoken French after practicing it for like 6 to 7 hours per week, lasting for 2 months. I hope this video can provide you with a realistic benchmark for measuring your potential growth in spoken French. In this video, I will discuss my background in learning French, the methodology I used for this challenge, and my weekly progress. Additionally, I will share important tips for improving spoken French. For your convenience, I added timestamps so you can watch this video in your preferred order. Let's get started. So, let's begin with my background. Bonjour, je m'appelle Phoebe et je suis étudiante chinoise à l'Université de Hong Kong. J'ai commencé à apprendre le français lors de ma deuxième année à l'université. Avant de commencer ce défi de français, j'ai terminé 2 cours de français à l'université, mais j'ai trouvé que je ne pouvais pas parler en français avec les Français lorsque j'étais à Lyon l'été dernier. C'est pourquoi je souhaite améliorer mon français oral. The methodology of this challenge is based on 2 main ideas. First, 80-20 rule. I aim to dedicate 80% of my time to learning the 20% most important words and phrases that I use in almost everyday life. Therefore, the entire challenge focused on the topics I frequently discuss. Second, generative AI tools. I wanted to explore the extent to which the generative AI tools could help me improve my spoken French skills. That's why during this French experiment, I extensively utilized the ChatGPT and Notion AI, and here are the specific steps I followed each week. First, I chose a topic for the week and asked the Notion AI to generate 10 questions related to the topic. I then proceeded to answer these questions in French. If I encountered any unfamiliar words or sentence structures, I would write them down for future reference. After answering these questions, I would have a list of unknown vocabulary and sentence structures. I then requested Notion AI to translate these English phrases or sentence structures into French, and requested Notion AI to provide me with 3 example sentences suitable for intermediate learners. I would then learn these words and phrases and try to answer these questions again by newly acquired vocabulary. After approximately 5 to 6 hours of self-learning, I would then engage in a 30-minute conversation with my professor on the chosen topic, allowing time for feedback. I didn't select the worst part of first week's video and the best part of the last week's video to exaggerate my progress because I feel like that's too misleading and I want to show the authentic progress.
Tu as une grande famille?
Non, ma famille, il y a seulement 3 personnes dans ma famille. C'est mes parents et moi.
D'accord. Et donc tu n'as pas de frère, pas de sœur?
Non, je n'ai pas de frère ou de sœur. Je suis fille unique.
D'accord. Et tu as des cousins, des cousines?
Ah oui, je suis 2 cousines. Et,
j'ai 2 cousines?
Oui, je suis désolée. J'ai 2 cousines et elles sont très proches de moi.
D'accord. Qu'est-ce qui est populaire pour les jeunes de ta génération quand on parle de centre d'intérêt, de hobby?
Je pense que pour les gens de ma génération, nous préférons jouer au jeu parce que c'est très intéressant et amusant pour nous. Et maintenant, les adolescents ont beaucoup de stress, du stress, beaucoup de stress de l'école ou de l'université. Alors, c'est important pour nous à réduire le stress et se divertir par regarder, par jouer aux jeux.
Quand tu dis les jeux, tu veux dire les jeux vidéo?
Oh, oui, parfois les jeux vidéo et parfois c'est les jeux de société parce que les jeux de société offrent les jeunes une façon à faire des amis.
Est-ce que tu fais du shopping en ligne aussi?
Ah oui, j'ai fait beaucoup de shopping en ligne, en particulier à Taobao. Sur Taobao. C'est très populaire en Chine. Et je pense que le prix de produits en ligne n'est pas cher toujours. N'est pas cher toujours.
N'est jamais cher.
n'est jamais cher. Et il y a beaucoup de choix en ligne. Je peux voir les choix de millions de magasins en ligne. Aussi, je peux voir les avis de clients en ligne. C'est plus digne de confiance pour moi.
C'est bien. C'est quoi pour toi les avantages des réseaux sociaux?
Je pense que il nous offre une façon pour se connecter. Dans le passé, beaucoup de personnes communiquaient face en face. Et je pense que c'était toujours bilatéral. Mais maintenant, on peut trouver des informations de d'autres personnes sur les différentes fonctionnalités de réseaux sociaux. Et c'est une bonne façon à rester connecté avec nos amis et nos familles. Et je pense que quand je dois communiquer avec mes amis maintenant, c'est moins gênant pour moi. Parce que je peux toujours retrouver les nouvelles informations sur mes amis.
Qu'est-ce que c'est alors le sens de la vie? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
C'est une question très difficile pour moi. Je pense que le sens de la vie, le sens de la vie varie vraiment d'une personne à l'autre. Je pense pour moi, le sens de la vie est obtenir le but principal dans ma vie après avoir travaillé pour longtemps et partager former les connexions significatives avec d'autres personnes et faire la contribution à la société.
I'm not sure how you feel about my progress, but for me, although the progress is not as surprising as I hoped, I do observe an overall improvement in my spoken French. And this experiment has definitely boosted my confidence in speaking French. Today, I would like to share with you 3 most important lessons I've learned from this experiment. I hope they can be helpful in developing your own learning strategies as well. First, accept the deviation in your performance. Often we are told that consistent effort in learning a language leads to consistent progress. However, this concept is somehow idealized. If we believe in this, we may easily lose confidence when the reality goes into a different direction than the expectation. Through my experience, I have to confess that my progress varies a lot. Sometimes the same mistakes repeat. For example, when I was talking to my professor, I always pronounced les Français, les Chinois instead of les Français, les Chinois. I always added as at the end, and my professor corrected me many times. Additionally, during the period when I stayed up really late for reviewing midterms on mathematics and finance, my performance on spoken French was even negative. Having actual performance different from our expectations is common. It's better to accept this idea, understand the limitations in reality, and make corresponding adjustments than to stop learning when disappointed with our performance. Second, be skeptical about ChatGPT. Initially, I had high expectation towards generative AI tools, but after using them for 2 months, I have to confess their limitations. Let me give you two real examples. First is about the accuracy of generative AI's response. While answering questions about shopping, I didn't know how to translate waste others' times into French. So I requested Notion AI and ChatGPT to help translate this into French and provide me with example sentences. Both ChatGPT and Notion AI translated as perdre le temps des autres and provided me with the following example sentences. So here's a question for you. If you don't know this phrase and see the information provided by the generative AI tool, will you A. Feel it looks strange based on intuition? B. Want to further search for more information to validate AI's response? C. Well, it looked correct, I just memorize it. For me, at that time, I chose C, as the translation looked perfect and the example sentences looked reasonable for a intermediate learner in French. But my French professor pointed out the mistakes in this translation. The verb faire is necessary in this expression. As a French native speaker, my professor could recognize the problem immediately, but for language learners like you and me, we may believe in the generative AI tools and trust their answer completely. The second example is about recognizing our problems. One thing I really like about talking with my professor is that he can always point out the most serious mistakes I made in a conversation and help me to correct it. For example, during the first 2 weeks of the conversation, I always said, je sais, je sais, je sais. No matter what the professor explained, I always responded, je sais, je sais. But my professor pointed out the difference between je sais and je comprends. For je sais, it's usually used when you didn't know something initially, but after someone's explanation, you understand it. For je comprends, it's more like before someone's explanation, you already knew it. Thanks to my professor's repeated reminders, I was able to correct this bad habit. In contrast, the generative AI tools will not help me in correcting these common mistakes, and I cannot know how serious a mistake is when discussing a topic with generative AI too. There are many other examples like this too. That's why after the experiment, I do feel the guidance from the native speakers or from your professors is really necessary. Third, listening and reading are also important for improving speaking skills. As mentioned before, the initial goal of this challenge was to be able to speak the words and the phrases I use every day. Therefore, most of what I've learned are based on the words that I wanted to translate. However, using this method sometimes leads to unnatural translation. On the other hand, language input such as reading and watching French videos can help discover more natural expressions. That's why even though my initial attempt was to be able to translate the words and the phrases I wanted to express, with time, I read more French articles and watched more French videos in order to increase the quality of the words and the phrases I collected. Lastly, I would like to convey my gratitude to my French professor, David. Thanks to his support, I was able to finish this challenge and I gained the confidence in speaking French. The joy of speaking with him is irreplaceable. Before you leave, I would like to mention that I'm planning on creating more videos on assessing different methods of learning French. If you're interested in this topic, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like today's video. See you in the next video. Bye!